Hey VC, how's it going? Over the last few weeks, I've been thoroughly enjoying the Give Me 10 1970s videos, which BigStar1000 kicked off, and several people have joined in with. I've been enjoying all of your videos. I've been trying to get my shit together to make one of these videos to join in, but it's taken me till 1974 to get one done, so here it goes. Right, okay. I tried to pick records. I figured, there's quite a few people doing these videos, so rather than trying to second guess what people are gonna pick or what they're not gonna pick, I've just gone with my 10 probably most played records from this year. Right, so I'm kicking off with Stevie Wonder presents Sarita. Between 1972 and 1976, Stevie Wonder released a perfect run of albums. I think any one of those records, his solo records, could fall into uh, one of these year lists quite easily. In 1974, he put out For Fun, first finale, which is a great record in itself. But this is a record that he made with his then ex-wife, Sarita Wright, on Tamla Motown. And I think this surpasses it, basically. They'd obviously worked together previously. This is the second album they've done together. Her first solo album, Sarita, he'd also worked on. And they'd also co-written stuff in the late 60s, early 70s. So stuff like Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I'm Yours, It's a Shame, which was done by the Detroit Spinners. They were co-writes between the two of them. This album is great. It's just a great pop soul record. Stuff like I'm Going Left, Spinning and Spinning, Your Kiss Is Sweet. Start to finish, it's just a perfect pop soul record. So that's my first choice. Sarita, Stevie Wonder presents 1974. Right, okay. My favourite Zappa album, Apostrophe. I first came across this album. There was a series of programs made about classic albums. One of those programs was about this record and the making of Overnight Sensation, the two together. So I always associate those two records together. But this is the one that I'd go for, 1974. Stuff like Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, Nanook Rubs It, Cosmic Debris, just great stuff. I'm not necessarily a massive Frank Zappa fan, but I do love this record, so yeah. Frank Zappa, Apostrophe. Right. Okay. Neil Young on the Beach. This is I suppose this is the first studio Neil Young album that came out after Harvest. So I think when you hear this record, you can understand why it didn't necessarily go down too well at the time. The mixes are quite rough, very basic recordings, but that's what makes the record. Great songs throughout. I know that I think Time Fades Away, which is a live record, came out in between the two albums. But yeah, this is fantastic. For years you couldn't get this. It didn't come out on CD until the early 2000s. I think 2003. So it was only available on vinyl, original vinyl copies, which were going for a fair few quid at the time. For years, as a poor student, I couldn't afford one, and then one day I looked out and found one at a car boot sale for a quid. So this is my copy that I found for a quid, nice original copy. Yeah, great album, probably my favourite Neil Young album. So yeah, Neil Young on the Beach. Right, fourth record, Van Morrison, It's Too Late to Stop Now, a live album recorded between LA and London, I think in late 73. For me, Van Morrison is best live. He's obviously made some wonderful studio albums. Prior to this, he obviously made Moondance, Astral Weeks, but I think that Van Morrison is best live. That's how he's best represented, and this is a great live record. I love the horn sound on this record. I've seen him live several times actually, and he can be a bit hit or miss. He's a bit of a cantankerous old fucker, so depends what sort of mood he's in, but he's always got a great band with him. And he does make me think of James Brown, really, and basically the way that James Brown used to run his band. It's the same principle, really. He feels like the ringleader in amongst it all with these great musicians, as James Brown did. So yeah, definitely my favourite Van Morrison album. I'd urge you to pick it up if you haven't heard it. Van Morrison, It's Too Late to Stop Now. Right, okay. Right, number 5, Fred Wesley and the JBs, talking about James Brown. Damn Right I Am Somebody. He put out 2 albums this year. There was this record and Breaking Bread. This is the record that I've played most, so this is the record that's gone into the list. If you like James Brown, if you like the JBs, you know what you're getting. It's just a great funk record. This is originally came out on People. This is a UK copy on Polydor. Nice original copy. Picked it up on eBay at a good price a few years ago. Yeah, you know what you're getting, as funky as you like. Fred Wesley and the JBs, Don't Write 'Em Somebody. Right, okay. One of the first krautrock tunes that I heard was Dino by Harmonia, which is off this record, Music by Harmonia. Somebody made me a mixtape years ago, and that was the first track on one of the sides. I picked this up. This is a reissue from the mid 2000s. So got the price on it. Got it from Piccadilly Records in Manchester. I know there's been a subsequent reissue that came out, I think last year, which I think has got a superior sound quality. This will do me though. Love this album, perhaps because it's one of the first krautrock records that I heard. It's one that I keep going back to. But yeah, I saw Michael Rother play with his current band earlier this year, and he played a couple of tunes off this in amongst his set. Yeah, great stuff. Harmonia, Music by Harmonia. Right, okay. Millie Jackson, Caught Up. Now this might not be everybody's bag, but I think this is just a great soul record. This album from the 74 and the following album, Still Caught Up from 75, are just a lovely pair basically. Basically this is it's almost like a concept record really, where Millie Jackson is playing, you know, a woman done wrong. You know, she's basically the other woman in an adulterous relationship. It's a mixture of original tunes by her with some cover versions thrown in there as well, which really help with the telling of the story. Yeah, it's a lovely record. It's very much in the vein of those early 70s Isaac Hayes records. You know, that sort of slow groove, basically with the spoken rap over the top. It's got a lot of that feel to it. The final track is a cover of Some of the First Time, the Bobby Goldsboro tune. I love the original. I think her version's wonderful as well. Yeah, I mean, this is a cheap record. You'll find this quite easily at no money at all, and it's definitely worth picking up. So yeah, Millie Jackson, Caught Up. Right, okay. I know Fred showed this. This is Brian Eno's Taking Tiger Mounted by Strategy. I know that a few people picked an Eno record from 1973. Here Comes the Warm Jets. I would put this over that record. This is one of my favourite Eno albums. Yeah, this is the original copy on Pink Rim Island. Something else I found at a car boot sale for a few years ago. Picked it up for £1, which was a bargain. I'm sure you'll agree. I played this record actually last Sunday night. I was determined to make one of these videos, so I pulled out a few albums and I've played bits of them throughout the week when I've had chance. And I put the first track on, and my wife said, "Oh, this is fantastic. Is this Ringo Starr?" So my wife has ruined it for me, you know, by every time I listen to this record now, I'm going to think it's Ringo Starr singing, and I may well have ruined it for you as well, so you're welcome. But there you go. Taking Tiger Mountain by Strategy by Brian Eno. Right, okay. Queen 2. Now, I know what people think of Queen. They're very divisive. I don't think that Queen records will be many of these lists. For me, Queen made 2 wonderful hard rock records in 1974. Queen 2 and there goes the other one, Sheer Heart Attack. As you can see, the fact that I've got both of them to hand, I wasn't sure which one I was going to put in my list, but I plumbed with Queen 2. This has got a big single on it, Seven Seas of Rye, which was a top 10 record in the UK. But apart from that, it is just a great hard rock record. One of the best of the genre. I would encourage anybody to listen to it that hasn't. It's got a massive sound to it. The production is wonderful. I think it was produced by Roy Thomas Baker, who did most of their records around this time. But yeah, I mean, as I say, Queen are quite divisive. You know, perhaps maybe because what come later on, really, you know. But yeah, I think, you know, the writer Stuart McConey, I remember reading him describing Queen as a pantomime Led Zeppelin, which was obviously meant as an insult, but I think it's a pretty fair description, to be perfectly honest. You know, I think they're, you know, it's the same vein as Zeppelin. It's got the great big guitar riffs, great vocalist. It's got it all going on, great tunes, but it's got a sense of humour which Zeppelin hasn't got, you know. So I know that everybody out there is going to be screaming at me at the moment for comparing Queen to Led Zeppelin, but you know, if yeah, personal choice in it. But there you go, Queen 2. Right. Okay. Right. One last. My final choice was going to be Robert White, Rock Bottom, but I know Fred's already spoke about that in some detail, so I'm going to use it as an excuse to show one other album which I'm sure won't feature in any of the list. This is the Four Tops, Meeting of the Minds. I love a lot of Motown stuff. I love the Four Tops Motown stuff as well. However, their best album wasn't on Motown. This was released in the UK on Probe. As I say, an early 70s Four Tops record. It's just a little bit funkier. It's got some great tunes. It works better as an album than any of their other records does. So I definitely urge you to check this out if you get a chance. I've got several copies of this, and I've given them away over the years just to try and get people to listen to it. And I don't think I've ever paid more than £3 for a copy. So if you do see it, pick it up. The Four Tops, Meeting of the Minds on Probe. So that's my number 10. And just finally, I just want to highlight the possibly the worst album cover, 1974. The Ralph Nowie Group, Escalation. What's all that about? I bought this in Munich about 5 years ago. Yeah, from a shop called Monkey Island, if I recall. But yeah, enough said. Anyway, cheers.